I was just trying to think the other day of the first time that I met Lanni, and I don't remember specifically. What I do remember is seeing her on stage in a high school production of Trojan Women where she played Hecuba. And it was just astounding. I mean, here was this 15, 16-year-old girl just knocking it out of the park, this power that she had on stage.
She played the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz, and I've told this story many a time. I didn't know her, but she was so powerful that the child in the row in front of me peed its pants. And I said to myself, I'd like to get to meet this woman. The rest is history. We were married September 29, 1973.
She was good at everything she did. She was a comic genius. She had this wonderful sense of timing. She was brave, and she could do the heavy drama like Trojan Women. She had an amazing range. The Boyfriend, Oliver, Hello Dolly. We did high school plays together, some Noel Coward, some Hands Across the Sea.
The importance of being earnest. The list goes on and on. She loved that Laundry and Bourbon piece. There's a little poster here. She did a wonderful job in Inspector Calls. That was a little more recent, and If We Were Women. So the list kind of goes on and on. Ultimately, comedic seemed to be the what she liked the best.
To see a funny female kick butt on stage, like she was so funny, and then could also be really poignant. Like she was such a great actor too. So growing up watching her act was really influential for me as well.
She was pretty special. She was, there's that old adage in the in the theater: if you want to be noticed on stage, don't act with children and dogs. Well, if you want to be noticed on stage, don't act with Lanni McInnes Shupe, because everybody was watching her.
I was just marveled to me watching Lanni develop a character and how she learned the lines. And it was a concept that was pretty much foreign to me because my profession is linear. And she said, well, ultimately in the end you do have to do some memorizing, but you have to get into the character. You have to get into the head of the character. Okay, I can understand the words, but not how you do it.
She really gave on stage. She really gave to who she was playing with. If you're acting with someone like that, it just makes your job so much easier, and it's just such a pleasure to do. After we had done Hello Dolly in Kamloops, those big community musicals that used to be done back in the day, Tom Kerr asked Lanni and I if we would join the company in Vancouver. He was directing the production at the Theatre in the Park. As soon as she opened her mouth, the kids in the rehearsal hall just couldn't believe this powerhouse that was sitting there, And it was funny because it was, it's little old kids from Kamloops going down to Vancouver, and here was Lanni kind of, knocking it out of the park.
She basically inhabited the character that she was playing. And that was a fastidious study.
She had such a strong basis in the theater and a strong understanding of how plays worked and how actors worked. And I understand she was a very good director in that she really cared about actors and understood their process and helped them through. And that's, as we know, that's, critical to being a director.
I met Lanni when I was in university, and I was really lucky because Lanni would be the director of some fundraising ideas that Western Canada Theatre had, and she would direct all these university students. So I was lucky enough to be one of those university students. And then as well, I was hired by Western Canada Theatre in their show Witness for the Prosecution that was directed by Lanni, and it was a fabulous experience. She was extremely warm, meaning I felt absolutely comfortable. I was terrified going in because I'd never done a professional show before. And she made me feel so comfortable and at home. She treated me like everybody else, like we were working with professional actors, and I had no idea what I was doing. And she was super patient, and she was lovely to be around.
Now make no mistake, when she was directing, she had a vision. I mean, first off, she studied it thoroughly, participated in all levels of design. She had a vision, Her blocking was, and they probably tell you about this, she liked to use the whole space and lots of furniture, and it was clear and concise. No equivocality, but she wasn't barking. And then once the characters started taking shape, she gave them space.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about her too was that being sort of a novice actor on stage, that she still trusted my instincts. So when I gave her ideas, as anyone did, she would let us always explore those. And I really loved her for that, because as an actor who went in feeling really insecure, she made me feel like my ideas worked. Or maybe she made me think the ideas worked, but either way, a director who instills that sort of confidence in an actor is really wonderful to work with.
And her incredible sense of humor. I mean, oh God, the laughs that we that we had over the years were pretty special. I remember we took this production of Love, Murray Shizgill's Love, to the Edinburgh Festival. It was the first time WCT had done that. But the last day when we closed and packed up all our stuff, we spent a day in Edinburgh, just wandering around. Brian Long rented a full-on kilt outfit, and Lanni and I followed about as these kind of pseudo Scotsmen with Brian, and we just had a fantastic time. I mean, we just never stopped laughing, and that's what I miss.
Gosh, she was so funny. She had such a sense of humor in the rehearsal hall, and she was just so gentle in nature, but she had this sort of like this really wonderful smirk that she kind of, this sort of mischievous little smirk that she always had, and I remember that very clearly. Lanni was never without a cup of coffee in her hand, so much so that we named the coffee pot in the green room the Lanni. And so we'd say, like, do you want a cup of Lanni, or who's going to put on a pot of Lanni? Because she always had coffee.
Most people wouldn't have known about how supportive she was of family and close friends in every conceivable way.
She became a very close friend of my mother. And in my mother's final years, she and Lanni, had these weekly tea parties. And again, there was a lot of laughs at those. Lanni was there to kind of be me, in the interim. And I'll be forever grateful for that.
I knew her husband and her, and it was so great because anytime you ran into them, Terri was so lovely. He would want to chat and talk, and they just always wanted the best for everything you were doing. They always asked what endeavors you were a part of and wanted to figure out how to support those. And so she just always felt like an ally all the time, and really encouraging. One
of the pieces presented at her retirement was a poem written by Carl Hare. Lanni McInnes Shupe, her eyes sky clear, unswervingly direct, in the observant face, engaged wholly in what is read and said. Response to the other mouth, like the flash of a sleek fish, leaping from the long stillness of a pond. Actions without comment, done for themselves, as an animal pads its way through the thick mulch of the forest. Much for the other, little for herself, the quiet accomplishments, no recognition needed, sow her life beyond the stage. But in the multicolored light on the familiar floor, before the dusky cavern, subtle in its shuffling sounds, like those on the beach of a quiet sea, what absorbed before now blazes fierce, lighting the newborn scene with force of mask and personality and uttered meaning to provoke laughter, to instill tears, to shine on one creature among the crowd that she has shown over the punctuated years. Let the applause roar for all her lives. That's Lanni.
That talent that she had, could, you know, she could have taken that anywhere. And who knows what might have happened to her had she gone farther afield or explored New York or even the movie world. I mean, it was special. You know, it wasn't just, oh, that kid's good in high school. It was a really, really special talent. And she chose to stay in Kamloops and to you know, develop her career with the directing, and then passing on that knowledge to anyone who would have worked with her, as well as being part of the company. Both she and Terri, of course, instrumental in the growth of WCT.
What she did for the company through all of her endeavors, acting, directing, just management in the office, is something that Kamloops should be so thankful for, that she got us where we are now.
Thanks for the laughs, certainly, and thanks for the friendship over the years, which, you know, still here.
Thank you for being the incredible soulmate you were, to being a life partner par excellence. I was just so fortunate,
To show people that women belong in this profession, and they can write and they can direct and they can manage, and yeah, that's really inspiring. So I would just tell her thank you. Thanks for paving the way for so many of us here.